TV 777. I'm doing a little bit of practice of Soul Calibur because I can get my ass kicked. But yeah, I've been seeing a few hold up, you know what, give me a second. Give me one little second. Trying to turn down some of this sound. Let me see something. Soul Calibur is an awesome game, by the way. There we go. It's a pretty awesome game. It's something to do because you kind of get if you played other games, you know, when you go from playing Tekken to playing like this game, it's a different concept. So you gotta get in the mental framework of Soul Calibur versus Tekken. But what I wanted to talk about was I've been seeing a lot of like comedic references to Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk. For those who know what Red Table Talk is, it's basically Jada Pinkett and her daughter, her mother, and some other guests she may have on her show. They talk about real life topics, you know, things that they want to get off their chest, things that they feel like they're going through, different feelings of like oppression or whatever the case may be, just different things that may help them to release. I think that's the point of the whole thing, to help people to release certain aspects of what they've been holding in. But give me a second. Yeah, so but this season they had Will Smith. Will Smith was on Red Table Talk, and last season she was saying that Will Smith was saying that he wouldn't she didn't know if they were going to be able to get Will Smith. She did a few interviews and things like that. But you know, of course, watching the show, relating it to the topic right now that I'm talking about, which is why Will Smith could tell Jada Pinkett, in quote, "You're with me now." There's been a few comedic references when it comes to why he could do that, you know. So average-minded people will say this: it was because he was Fresh Prince. You get what I'm saying? They would say it was because he was Fresh Prince, and you know, why wouldn't you do it, Jada? He's Will Smith, right? She also said that she dated Alfonso. You get what I'm saying? She dated Alfonso. They went on a date. She didn't, I don't know, she didn't date him for a long time, but they went on a date. So what I'm trying to say is this: you know, my last video I was talking about authority, you know, and knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is very, very important when it comes to what Will Smith could pull with Jada, or really anybody. He also spoke about how the woman he was with, she divorced him, and he wasn't trying to have that at first. So he basically just had to take that. You know, he didn't want to get divorced. It wasn't in his plan to be divorced, but the woman that he was with before he got with Jada Pinkett was the one that divorced him, and the one he has a son by, I believe. Now, when it comes to like getting girls or getting the guys, we're speaking about the males, but it still applies to females. It's simple. Will Smith could do that. The reason why Will Smith could do that with Jada, even though a lot of people might be like, oh, you know, that's just because he's Will Smith. No, Jada was Jada. You know, he was Will Smith, she was Jada, and it's not like Jada Pinkett back then wasn't somebody that was, you know, sought after. You know, I mean, Tupac, she knew Eazy-E, she knew a lot of different, you know, artists. She was on a different world. It's not like she couldn't have dated somebody else. You know, she could have been doing different things. He said that she was, before he had actually called her up and told her, you know, you're with me now. Before he did that, she was living on a farm in Baltimore. And so what I'm seeing, you know, when people, you know, are talking about, oh, you know, Will Smith can do it, but, you know, you can't do it. You know, the average guy, average Joe Blow can't do that. You can't just call a girl up and be like, good, you're with me now. The truth of the matter is that you can. You know, but like I was saying before, you can't see yourself as a regular guy. It's not about whether or not you are Fresh Prince or not. Like, it's not about that. You just can't see yourself as a regular guy, because if you see yourself as a regular guy, she's gonna see you as a regular guy, and she's not gonna take you serious. She's just not gonna get that vibe that this person is somebody that, in a sense, will protect me, or I can trust what he's saying to me. She's not gonna get that, and you shouldn't do that. If you were to say those words and that's not something you actually are, it would be comical. You know, so I would encourage against it. I would say no, don't do that. Don't call no girl up with your feelings of being just average, or your mindset of being just average, and then saying to some girl, you know, that you might like or whatever, good, you're with me now. You know, you can't do that. But some would say with swag. And the crazy part about swag, when people talk about swag, a lot of people don't even know what the hell swag actually means. I've had people, you know, try to, you know, describe to me what swag is, and they'll say something like, you know, what, you know, I'll say, what is swag? What do you mean by swag? You know, you know, the way you talk, the way you walk. You know, it's the way you do things. It's swag. You know what I'm saying? But what is it? Like, detail to the core to me, so that other people can understand what the hell swag is. Because you can't just tell somebody to have swag. They gotta understand the definition, the origin, the meaning of what swag actually is. And from what I understand, swagger is gold. That's what swagger means. To have swagger is gold. But that doesn't make any sense, because not a lot of us have gold. Some of us may, but we may not have gold. But that's figuratively speaking. It's metaphorically speaking. Being metaphorically speaking, when you're talking to people who want to know literally what it is you're saying for them to have, that doesn't teach. It can teach, but it's not going to really teach them. The only way for you to actually really teach somebody is to be that actual example. You got to be the example of the things you preach and the words you say. So the reason that Will Smith could say that to Jada Pinkett, although I'm pretty sure she had all kinds of the ability to date any kind of guy she wanted, you know, from the thugs to the nerds to the geeks. And remember, she dated Alfonso. She allowed for Will Smith to, you know, say that at that time, and she came through with it, even though Will Smith had just got declined in a sense by his wife before he met Jada. Or before he got with Jada. So you could say he just had that swag because he was Fresh Prince. But no, I would say he had the energy. He had the right vibe. He had the right timing. He knew that he could call Jada up and do that. He knew he could. No man with any sense, no woman with any sense, nobody ever pulls anything to just do it. Nobody just does anything. There's a deeper meaning to the things that people do. Every move you make, everything, like this conversation right now, there's a reason why I choose to talk. You know? There's a reason why. And the reason why I talk is because, first of all, I like talking. Two, there's people that really want to know this information. And that's just it. I like to talk. It's a hobby of mine. I do it all the time. I talk to myself. And these are the things I've gone through in my life. So I like to talk about the things I've gone through in my life and what I've come to understand, because that can help other people. So when it comes to being able to have that type of energy, in which a lot of guys, especially guys, they want that energy. Guys want to be able to command a female. They want to be able to be an alpha male. But I don't like using that term too much, because the alpha male is supposed to be a man that basically keeps the women chasing him. And to me, that's imbalanced. But if there's women out here that want an alpha male, you know, if you want to be chasing a man, you want to be under a man's wing, you want to be under his beck and call, then that's your business. But when it comes down to having that thing that Will Smith has, and he knew he had in the past, and not just because he was Fresh Prince, it goes back to authority. You got to practice what you preach. Everything you've ever done is written in your aura. And you know, I'm really big on energy, but everything you have ever done is written in your aura. It's written in your DNA. The way you walk, the way you talk, it's in your DNA. And I'm a firm believer, and a lot of people might say I'm crazy, but I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can change your DNA. You can change personality traits. You can change the inner core of who you are. You can change that. You can vibrate your DNA to the point where you start to bring in more success in general, more money, more love, more of what you want. It's not just a mind thing. When you get your mind to be in a focused manner, to where you start to focus on the things that you actually really want, and it's at your core that you really want, your DNA changes. Everybody starts to look at you different. Everything changes. People start to take you more serious. They start to see you as an authority. They start speaking to you like an authority. They start acting like you're an authority. You can't just walk up to somebody, or walk up to people, or you know, be the captain of a group or the captain of a ship and just tell people what to do. If you ever seen what is it, Game of Thrones. On Game of Thrones is a character, his name is Theon. Now Theon Greyjoy is his name. Theon Greyjoy was someone who didn't have his father in his life. He didn't have his father in his life. He always wanted to know his father. And he had a stepdad. And his stepdad treated him good. He was respected. At the beginning of Game of Thrones, he was respected. He was fed well. He was all of that. But, not to spoil it for anyone, but as you progress to the story with Game of Thrones, what happens is Theon basically gets crazy for his father's approval at some point, and he starts to do crazy shit, and he does things. He tries to become a captain of a ship that he can't sail. He's not the boss. He's not the boss, and nobody's taking him serious. But his father sends him on basically a suicide mission, and then some pretty bad things happen to Theon Greyjoy. And this is basically the case when it comes to a lot of people. A lot of people because society, you know, teaches you this. A lot of people, you wouldn't believe how many people, like I would say most people, have been, in a sense, with society sent on a suicide mission. And this society is giving you information about things that is not 100% true. This is why you're having complications in certain areas in your life. Why you may see that most people are not happy. They're not happy as they want to be. They may have certain things, but they don't have what they really truly desire. And many just don't know what they truly desire. And then you have people like who are filthy rich. People like Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, Tupac, you know, all these different celebrities from old to new that seem to have the gold, the swag, that thing that everybody else loves, that thing that makes people go into the house and watch your TV show. What is it that they have that you don't have? Some will just say swag. Some will say he was born into a certain family. All of that different stuff. The truth of the matter is, the reason why Will Smith could say what he said to Jada is because he understood, even if it was subconscious, he understands his power. Subconsciously or not, he understands his power. He understands a certain aspect of his male energies, of his self. And so in that case, he was able to say whatever he said, which was, "You're with me now," to Jada Pinkett. He can say those things. He can do those things. And the average guy can do that too, but not right now. You can't be the average-minded guy with average emotions, average walk, average talk. You can't do that stuff and then command a ship like Theon Greyjoy. You can't do that. You're gonna get clowned. You're gonna get laughed at, and that's just the way it is. You're gonna get laughed at if you. Basically, life is like a chess game. I look at it as a cosmic chess game. I predicted what would happen from the beginning of Game of Thrones all the way to the end. I knew what would happen because I understand people. I understand the intricate details and the reasons why people do things to the core. And you don't necessarily have to be that kind of person. You don't have to understand why people do things like that, you know, in every aspect. You just need to understand yourself and what your intentions are. You got to purify your intentions, is what I like to say. Because it seems that in society, a lot of people want the same things. Like a lot of people wanted to win the lottery. And what I heard today is that somebody in South Carolina won the lottery. Somebody in South Carolina. So that means that everybody in Baltimore who's been wanting to win the lottery, it's a no-go. Everybody is wanting the same things, but nobody's actually searching for themselves to understand what's the best position that you would actually thrive in. It's about thriving. It's about being happy with who you are. Not necessarily winning a lottery, but in a sense winning the lottery of your own life. And if you want to win the lottery of your own life, you got to change the way you think. You got to do that thing you got to have that thing that Will Smith has. If you want to get the girls like that. And the same thing with the girls. You know, there's girls out here that can command men. That can command men, you know, as an authority to do what they say. And the men just flock. No questions asked. What did you say? Is it a healthy dynamic for well, what I mean by command, I'm not saying you need to boss I'm not talking in the case of bossing your counterpart around. I'm talking about really having a commanding presence within yourself. Your commanding presence is what is the thing that steers other people into the direction you want them to go. Everybody's working on trying to use one another. Everybody's using somebody. It's just that a lot of us are not getting what we want. And if we're not getting what we want, we want to figure it out. Not all of us want to figure it out. Many of us just want to keep complaining. That's not figuring it out. But when it comes down to it, I don't encourage people bossing their mates around, but there's a lot of men, a lot of women who are with a certain mindset that believe that that's what they should be able to do. Not boss them around, but they should be the commander of the ship. And not everybody's equipped to be a certain kind of commander, but what you are equipped to do is to learn how to command yourself, learning your own unique skill set. And when you don't learn your own unique skill set, nobody is gonna really deeply trust you. Nobody's gonna really give you their undivided attention or that seriousness that you are dying for, because they sense innately, subconsciously, that you're not that thing that you want to command me to be. So it just doesn't flow like that. That's what I'm trying to say about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. And all of us has something to learn. Any master of anything understands that they had to be a student first to be a master, and they're always really a student, but they understand when it's time for them to teach. They don't have their ego in front of what it is that they're doing. So when Will Smith was talking to her, trust me, his energy was right, his timing was right, his feelings was right, his mindset was right. Everything was just in place for him to be able to say that. It was in place, and he knew he could say it, and he knew that he was supposed to be with her, so he had to be able to feel what it was he was feeling. He had to feel his own feelings. You have to know your feelings. That's how you're able to command, in a sense, a girl to give you her number. That's how you're able to command a guy to take you serious and go get you, do the things that a lot of women want men to do. A lot of women want the man to take charge. They want a man that can, that's a hustler, somebody that is aggressive in a certain way, in a positive way though. I'm saying a positive way, but I'm not talking about the other side. But in a positive way, they want a man to be a man. They don't want a man to, in a sense, be a woman. Some might want that, but they want a man to be a man. They want that male figure. And so there can be a lot of distortions in, the male energy and the female energies, which causes men to be more feminine-like or submissive when women don't really like that. A woman wants a man and a man wants a woman. And for those that are like bisexual or gay, it's the same thing. Usually there's someone that is the masculine and the feminine. But check what I'm saying. It's yin and yang. And the yin and yang is balance. There's no alpha in that. There can't be somebody that is more powerful than the other, because you know what happens when that happens? Somebody is not satisfied in the long run. This is where the cheating comes in. This is where the breakups comes in. This is where the fussing and fighting and the bickering comes in on a usual basis, especially when it comes to the deeper aspects of your relationship. But as far as having that authority, the authority of a king and queen, you got to know yourself as a king and queen. You got to know yourself. You can't just be talking about it. There's a lot of people out here that say, I'm a queen, I'm a king. But kings and queens know themselves. They don't need to argue or fuss with their man. They don't need to do those things. They don't need to fuss to get people to understand their position. When they come in a room, they automatically, because of their aura, they automatically command without words and without a stinky look on their face. In fact, they could come in a room with a smile. They automatically command that authority, that presence. And it doesn't mean that they have authority over others and what they think and what they feel. In a balanced situation, it's the man or the woman has power with others. That's the positive, having power with others and not over others. This is how you rule with love. And this is how you're able to command a woman or or a potential love partnership where you can say to somebody, you're with me now, because they'll feel something in your words, they'll feel your love, they'll feel your presence, and they wouldn't want to back down from that, even if it's for a moment. Maybe you might not last forever, maybe you might not be in a relationship for forevermore, but in that moment they will sense that presence in you and they will follow through. You will get what you want from them, and they won't even know why they even did it. Like Jada Pinkett said at the time, she said, quote, she said, my dumbass was like, okay, like she doesn't even know why she did it. That's how it is when you, whether you know it or not, whether you are consciously aware of it or subconsciously aware of it, that is what it is. That's just the way it is. So with that being said, a lot of these, these comedians are making jokes about it, like, oh, you just can't do that being a regular guy. You can do it being anybody. You just have to have that presence, the commanding presence. You don't have to be a pretty boy. You don't have to be any of this stuff that they say. You don't have to be someone that has $1 million. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be someone that has all of this, whatever they call swag. Someone that is, that, I don't know, that's hip hop. That's, in the mix. You don't have to have, you don't have to be in the mix, Death, hype. If y'all ever saw the movie, my favorite movie, which is Class Act, and Play was talking to Kid. No. Kid was talking to Play, and he said, look, man, look, if you're gonna be me, you're gonna have to speak like me. You're gonna have to act like me. He was like, but I can't be you. I don't know how to be you. He was like, look, man, let me tell you something. You don't hit on a girl. You be hitting on a bitch. Now I know that's kind of hard for some people's ears. I apologize about that. But what he said was, he was trying to tell him that, look, what he was trying to tell him was that if you're gonna be me, if you're gonna be Play, you gotta act like Play. You gotta have that energy like Play. You can't be Play and be you. You gotta be me. So he was acting like, that's the whole issue that's in society. People are acting like other people, and they don't realize it. They don't have their own originality when it comes to their unique swagger. And that's the slang word, that you gotta have your own unique swagger. That's how you get the girls that like your type. That's how you get anyone. But it's not about getting everyone. It's just about getting what is right for you. Looking every which way for every girl or every guy that's cute is really insane, because it's not about really how they look. It's about how they make you feel. And you don't need to worry about their looks, because whatever's good for you is gonna come for you. You just gotta have your energy right to be able to receive it. So what Play was trying to say to him, he was saying, you gotta be in the mix. You gotta be down with this. And he was like, so I gotta be deaf. He said, that's right. He said, so you're deaf. That's right. And he said, that's when Kid said, he turned around and he was like, I think Blade is the biggest asshole on the planet. And he started laughing, a little geeky laugh. And then he smacked him in the back of his head. And he was like, ow. He was like, you're not deaf. He said, man, if you don't stop dissing me, I'ma kick you in your mouth. Now, do you think Kid thought that Play was joking? No. Because he said it like he meant it. Because it was in him. This energy has to be in you. And I'm going to talk about, I got something else I'm going to talk about too. There's two ways to lead. There's two ways to get what you want. There's two ways. And I'm giving away a lot of game, but I'm going to give you the short aspect on my next video. But there's two ways to get what you want. But like I was saying, if you want to be like Will Smith, you don't have to be Will Smith, but if you want to have that energy like Will Smith, where you can command where you can basically command the girls or the guys to be that. You're gonna have to adapt some certain qualities. You're gonna have to change, but not into something that isn't your style. You're just gonna have to change a certain quality about yourself and uniquely gather these qualities so that you can get what you want. They'll be your unique authoritative qualities, and that's really what it's all about. So what did you say? Can't hear you. Can two command? The question was, can two commanders command each other? Usually, they don't need to command each other, but that's if they meet in that kind of way. If you meet two commanders, right? Now, it depends, because if you're talking about a commander, it depends on the relationship. So if the relationship is a loving relationship where you're having intimacy with each other, I guess you're saying, we spoke about the male aspect and the female aspect, because I'm gonna tell you now, if there's two aggressive aspects that are basically male, to the core male, they're gonna have issues with each other, because one of them is gonna be telling one, no, you need to bend over. No, I'm not the one that's bending. You're gonna bend over. That's not gonna work like that. Now that's a pretty elaborate description, but what I'm trying to say is this: that doesn't work like that. Two commanders, let's just say one is male and one is female, they can learn to be in balance with each other, respect one another's wishes, but they can also help one another when there's a little bit of frustrations going on. They can help balance one another. Why? Because they are commanders. And commanders, true commanders, people who are true commanders, also know when to receive counsel from those that may not even be commanders. They know when to receive counsel from their subordinates. They just know. And that's deeper stuff. That's further down the line. That's stuff that, you got to get the basics down first. Now, as you can hear, at this moment in time, I know this stuff, because if I didn't, how could I talk like this? Where the hell did Ramsey get this shit from? There's no book there's really no book you can read. You don't learn from reading books. You learn from experience. Everything that happens in your life, you learn from experience. Now a lot of people are learning wrong. They're getting the wrong lesson. They're getting the right lesson, and they're taking the wrongness out of it. They're taking the negative aspect of the lesson. They're not taking the positive out of that lesson, and therefore they keep repeating the same process, or they become worse, and they decide to run away from a particular aspect of that lesson, like finding love. You get your heart broke one time and you say it's love's fault. Fuck love. That's not how you're not taking the positive from this, because you got to learn about what you're doing in order to progress. You gotta learn about what it is that you have been doing so that you can be able to change it, so that you can progress. That's what it's all about in life. Life is about progression, not regress. Not regression. Is that the word? Regression? Yeah, it's not regress. So people like Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, if you talk to them, look, she's still around today. Even if she wasn't acting, even if she didn't have Red Table Talk, these people are successful people. They're successful. She's still alive. She's been through probably more emotional things than a lot of people so far. She's woman enough to talk about it, and as you look at both of them, you can see the authority in both of their eyes. I can see that Will Smith loves her, and I can see that she loves him, and it's unspoken. It's an unspoken word. You don't need two commanders, people who are true queens and kings don't need to say it. They know it. That's the thing about it. You can discuss it if you choose, but they don't need to say it. Huh? Yes, I agree. She said people want to say it because they need the validation over and over again. But deep down inside, no person really likes you to be all up in their grill telling them 100 times, I love you, I love you, I love you. That's just resistance, on and on and on. Nobody really likes you in their face. Look, If you give somebody something, if you overstuff someone with what they say they want, if you just overdo it and keep doing it, saturate, they get sick of you eventually. That's another topic that's for later. And that topic is on don't give a person what they think they want, you give a person what they are. Now, that's going to be something that, you know, that's some steeper stuff. But when it comes down to, I'm just going to finish this up, you know. I'm going to finish this up, but when it comes down to having swag, I mean, let me change the word. When it comes down to having that energy, the energy that commands the room, having that presence, it doesn't have anything to do with your ego. You can have an ego presence that demands and tries to dominate the room, but when I say commanding, I mean in a positive way, to have that authority to where people want to respect you. People want to know who you are. When they see you, they look and they wonder to themselves like, wow, you know, who is this guy? Who is this girl? This person seems like a pretty cool person. I don't know why. I just get a good flavor from this person. That's what you really want. People who are insecure want people to hate on them. They want people to hate on them. Why? Because they need that validation. They need you to hate on them in order for them to feel better about themselves. But they're using negative energy they're using the pull from your time and effort to hate on them, from your energy, to feed their ego. They're not feeding their actual soul with anything that is of any actual nourishment. So what I've been working on, and what I've always preached and what I've always practiced is integrity to its highest degree. That's what gets you everything you want. You will have the luckiest time with friends, women, whatever you're looking for, money, all kinds of different circumstances when you reach that point. When you stop bickering about the things you don't have and start focusing on the things you do, people will see it. It gets written in your DNA. It's in your aura. Whether you believe in energy or not, you'll have that presence as a man in balance with all women throughout the entire universe, that they'll automatically just assume. They'll say, that's the guy. I can take it from him. There's something about him or her. And you know what? I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to listen to her. And that's what Will Smith has. Even a lot of celebrities don't even have this. They may have money. They may have fame. You can have fame and not have this thing I'm talking about, this authority. You can still have fame. Authority, you know, that positive command, that's different than fame. That's why I said it has nothing to do with the monetary gain. It has nothing to do with it. So this is what I teach, and for all of the people that are, you know, in my opinion, cheating themselves, laughing about it, I think it's funny in a comical way, but it's actually kind of sad to me that a person doesn't believe in themselves to the point where they feel like they could say something like that to a woman or a man when the energy is right, when they understand that. I know they would understand it if they knew that energy, but I think it's actually a sad thing, because that's the way you get people in your life. People don't, if you don't have a commanding presence in some sense, if you don't have it, then guess what? People don't take you serious. You want to be taken serious. Period. You want to be taken serious. So with that being the case, the reason, I'm going to finish this off with this, the reason why Will Smith was able to say what he wanted to say to Jada, and why Jada followed, was because she could sense his commanding presence. She could sense that he was someone, whether she knew it consciously or not, someone that she could trust, and he knew that she was the one for him. He knew the power that he had, and he used it at the right time, and then their relationship went from there. There's always a continuing, you know, story. It'll always be a continuing story when it comes to the relationship. You don't just get with somebody and it just ends and the fairy tale just goes on. No, you got to keep on keeping on. So hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, donate, you know, do all those things. and you know, have more swag. You know, get that swag going. Learn to have more love for yourself. Have that commanding presence. Teach yourself how to do that. I would recommend that you hang out with people who actually have it, meaning hang out with people who have what you want and been where you are. Make sure you know what you want first. That can be a hard task, but make sure you know what you want first, and make sure that's where you want to be when you're hanging out with these people. And that's just that. So yeah, DOA TV out. Peace, y'all.